Hello class, today I'm going to be talking about our video assignment number 3 on Berger's triggers. And the question number 1 was for us to do the assignment that he mentioned in the chapter on triggers. And I noticed right off the bat, I couldn't believe how many different brands and organizations that, first of all, my wife and I talked about when we first woke up in the morning, when we were having our kids. We're talking about getting our kids ready. We're talking about what we're going to have for breakfast. Talk about exercising. We've just recently started exercising, so we went through Beats headphones. We went through, having eggs and bacon, and going to the mall or going to the commissary to get groceries. So we talked about the different things that we wanted to get for groceries, and when we balance one type of brand versus the other brand. And I mean, within the first hour, I had a page filled with different topics, and I noticed it was hard to even keep up. I was very surprised at how many different things we talked about in a short period of time. We were still talking about the NFL. We were still talking about the Super Bowl. We were still talking about, with Broncos, and we talked about watches. I mean, it was phenomenal how many different things we talked about in a short period of time. And then I spanned out for the rest of the day, and I just ended up having, pages upon pages. I didn't even include all of the different topics we talked about, or I talked about on my list that I wrote out. But I was very surprised at how many different ways that or how many different trigger points I had, of things that made me think about other stuff. Triggers are definitely a big part of my life. I'm the type of person where I have the long term trigger. Long term, I talk about things over a long period of time. I'm a promoter of things that I see and that I'm involved in, that I see that work, and I often talk about them. I share ideas and thoughts from weeks and weeks back, things that I've come across. I also do the immediate trigger points also. I mean, if I come across something, a different workout video or a different video on darts, I end up bringing that up to everybody, and I tell everybody. I make it a part of our conversation, and I pass the word around. So I'm very, very big on that and very bad with that. I guess it's a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing because things that are bothering me, Trump and our political systems, and I mean, there's just things I talk about all the time with people. And then even giving Trump an opportunity to do a great thing. I'm really, I talk about everything. The triggers that I probably would focus on when it comes to my group or my video, are things that just kind of get people talking or thinking about relaxing and what they do in their leisure time. Darts is surrounded by alcohol, beer, sporting events, and all of these become trigger points for me to target my audience with. I think I want them to think about what they do on a Friday night or a Wednesday night when they've had a hard day of work. They can go and just kind of lounge and hang out with their friends, play a round of darts, play a couple rounds of darts, and it becomes a fun thing, something more on a relaxation. So I can go anywhere from just thinking about laying on the beach, and just to get them thinking about relaxing, and where I would want them to think about, or where I want them to start leading towards is playing a game of darts. It's just a very fun game, and there's not a lot of stress involved in it if you're playing with your friends. But for those people who are more on a competitive level, bringing up sporting events, and when you go to sporting bars, most of the time you're going to go watch your favorite basketball team, football team, soccer team, or whatever, and you're already on that level of being competitive. So to throw in a game of darts there, on a competitive side, would be second nature. A lot of people play when they play darts. They're on a dart. They belong to a dart league or on a dart team, and for that reason, there are things like your ratings, which is on one night in one game, how many bullseyes you throw, or how many times did you end up throwing the last dart to win the game. Those type of stats. If you got 3 darts in the same area, which is called a bed. If you get 3 darts in a bed, it's called 3 in a bed. it becomes one of the stats that you keep, and it gives people an opportunity to really collect stats and show week by week that they're getting better at the game. And for that reason, there's a lot of different trigger points that could allow you to think about it on a more on a competitive level. And because it's more competitive, it becomes more stressful. And we all have stressors in our life, whether it's arguments with our spouses or boyfriend, girlfriends. You know, we got car accidents, you know, bills and all that stuff. And all of these things become, you know, available trigger points for thinking about, you know, last night's game or tomorrow's game, or how am I going to get better at darts so that I don't have the same thing happen last night when I got beat by one dart, or if I didn't close out, which is, you know, in a game of 301 or a 501 is one of the games you can play in darts. And the objective is to, you know, subtract your whatever dart points you throw from 501 points. And then in order to win, you have to double out, which I'll explain later in one of my videos. But, you know, if you miss your out and you end up going over zero, you know, what ends up happening is you bust and you have to go back to the previous dart, and gives your opponent an opportunity to win. And so when that happens, it's something that usually sticks with you, and you realize that, you know, if I would have threw, you know, a little more accurately or more consistently, then I probably would have won that game. And so that becomes one of the things you think about when you're practicing, when you're at home and you're, you know, not really doing much